Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Facebook Live today. Did you know how healing touch is for self-care? And you will learn how to use touch for healing from the comfort of your own home today. So we're really excited. My special guest today, Theresa Macy, helps people just like you and me to relax, reduce tension, and also feel rejuvenated. So I'm very excited to welcome Theresa Macy, and I will be introducing her just in a few minutes. But I thought, we will start with our grounding, centering, connecting exercise. And after that, we will get to learning from Theresa. I can't wait, Theresa. It's just so very exciting today.
I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming. And I can't wait to find out what these self-care techniques are while social distancing. Sounds really exciting. So, okay, everyone. If you're on the call, welcome again. And please introduce yourselves in the chat box and tell us where you're from. We would love to interact with you. And I'm sure Theresa will be happy to take some questions later on. So as we go on, if you want to write your questions in the chat box, that'll be very helpful. And whenever she's able to get to it, she'll be happy to answer some questions, right, Theresa? That's what we agreed. So yeah. And hi, Mary. We have Mary is on. Welcome, Mary. Nice to see you. Okay, so let's get started, everybody. So I invite you to just close your eyes and let's take 3 deep breaths. Inhale deeply and exhale slowly. One more breath. Inhale deeply and exhale slowly. One more deep breath. Inhale deeply and exhale slowly. Visualize a cord that extends from the top of your head, connecting you to your higher power, God, or the universe. Visualize this cord running through your body along your spine and extending down into the ground, connecting you to Mother Earth. Now visualize golden light pouring into every cell in your body, centering you and energizing you. Visualize holding hands as a group. Inhale deeply once again. And exhale slowly. And send out love and acceptance to every member of our group on this call and those who may be listening to the recording later. We have now created a supportive environment for all of us to learn from each other's questions and comments and experiences. We have also created a circle of healing and love and extend this out to everyone in your family, in your community, in your neighborhood, in your town, state, country, and the entire world. It's through love that we can connect with each other. And so let's send this love out to everyone. We're in this together. And let's feel that peace. And take one more deep breath, please. And as we exhale, just visualize that all that love that you have sent out is coming back to you to create that feeling of healing, calmness, and centeredness. And now you may gently open your eyes and be present today. So hello, everyone. We have lots of people who've joined us, I can see. So let's, Theresa, just say a quick hello to everyone. There's Jeremy. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi,
You're here
Jeremy.
from Northwest Georgia currently. And then Christy Leibel. I hope I'm saying your last name correctly. From
Leibel.
Fascial, Pennsylvania. Hi, who else? Hi, Linda. Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Who else do we have here? Juanita, Cindy, Anne-Marie, and Barbara. Welcome, welcome. We have quite a few people on today. So I would like to introduce our special guest. I am super excited, and you're going to be too once she shares with us her wonderful gifts today. So this is Theresa Macy. She has a deep understanding of how the body functions, and its connections to the mind and soul will transform the way you approach your well-being. She will inspire you to cultivate a life of passion, learning, and love of nature and movement. As William Butler Yeats says, education is not filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. Theresa lights that fire and continually gives it fuel. Her courses are enlightening and full of wisdom and energy for life, nature, and the human body. Recognizing Theresa's reputation as a teacher, the UPenn Nursing School and the University of Sciences School of Occupational Therapy invited her as an annual guest teacher for their integrative medicine programs. As a licensed massage therapist, certified yoga therapist, advanced fascial fitness trainer and educator, Theresa works with bodywork professionals that are looking to advance their practices and continue their education. She teaches workshops, trainings, and continuing education courses, offering credit by the NCBTMB, YACEP, and IAYT. So welcome, Theresa. I've known Theresa for a few years now, and she is just a phenomenal human being inside and out. And you're in for a treat today with Theresa. So welcome, Theresa. I'm so happy that you're here. And I will let you share with us some
I'm glad
of your
to be here. Thank you so much for having me on. It's so great to see you again. It's been a little bit of together, but it's nice to be back and to see you again.
Thank you.
I would like to say with just a little exercise of the healing powers of touch. So for any in the audience and for you and I, what I'd like to do is continue and build on the beautiful meditation and centering practice that you shared with us by taking our arms and inhaling and just bringing them all the way out to the side. So bring those arms all the way out, really stretch, open up that heart space, and let all of those gifts shine as the heart space is completely open. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, bring those arms out in front. Let that left arm come under the right arm and wrap it around your body and give yourself a nice big hug.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it. It's so good. We're all really so touch deprived and really just wanting that. So to build on all of that love that you had us send out and then bring back in, one of the first things we can do is really notice that as soon as both of us wrapped our hands around ourselves, we started shaking, soothing, and nurturing ourselves. The power of self-care is so important. So taking a nice deep inhale and bringing those arms out one more time, sending out all that love and care that you brought in for yourself. Open up your heart space. Take an inhale, bring those arms around. We'll do that one more time, this time putting the right arm under the left arm and bringing it in one more time so we can begin to feel the healing powers of touch and connection. And then as you're ready, just take a deep inhale and let those arms come back down to the side. Really just feel the difference there, right?
I loved it. And I found myself, like really just kind of moving and rocking a little bit side to side. It just felt so good, Thank you for that, Theresa. It was beautiful.
You
Thank you.
are welcome.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
I was just asking you, what are some of the pathways to process, this touch? So if you can tell us a little bit more about that.
So touch is so important for human survival and our ability to connect and interact with each other. And so in the body, we have different ways of processing. One is a sensory processing, which tells us all the facts about touch. I'm hot, I'm cold, that's a lot of pressure, somebody's touching me, where is that hand placed? It gives you all of those logistics and the facts about touch. But then we also have the social and emotional information that comes in, right? Touch shows us how to bond and how to feel pleasure, and sometimes, unfortunately, how to feel pain. So we process in all different ways, and we have all these different layers of needing to think about touch and what that means to us. So an example is a really simple one. If I came over there right now and put my arm around your shoulder or gave you that hug that we just gave to ourselves, the sensory information would be, I'm being hugged. I feel those arms around my back. Yes, there's a nice squeeze in there of that hug. That would be the sensory information. But depending on who that person is that's offering that hug, or whether you even feel like being hugged at that time, you will have a different reaction to it. It might be just like it was right now. Your daughter comes in. We were talking about, your family earlier. They give you that hug and you're just like, you want to hold on forever, right?
Absolutely.
But sometimes in that social and emotional parts of touch, we have a little bit different types of boundaries. So it's important for us to understand how healing touch is, but also the different ways in which we can offer and receive it.
Wow, that's such a good point, because there is some people, when they invade your space, you do, you kind of retract, right? You sort of go into yourself when somebody you don't like is coming close into your space. So touch can feel negative at times if it's not something that you're welcoming. So yeah.
And so if anybody who is watching wanted to experience anything, we can take like 1 second. You can run around your house and maybe find a little bit of oil or a little bit of body lotion.
I got mine here, my body lotion. It smells so good. Yeah, it's got eucalyptus and it's just wonderful. So here we go.
And with those lotions, you can do that. You can talk to all of your senses, depending on what types of scents you add or none, depending on how you feel in any given day. But as you do that, we have talked so much over the last couple of months about washing our hands, right?
Yes.
Interaction we have with our hands. But now, maybe thinking of it in a different way, like soothing those hands. There's so many nerves and so many sensory input that comes from our hands that maybe we just notice as we're just applying this little bit of lubricant, just how wonderful it feels to experience just our own touch. It builds such a high level of body awareness. Maybe as you're working through your hands with your own oil, notice I've got my thumb, on the back of my hand, and I just twist my hand back and forth into my own thumb. Maybe you'll notice the places that feel really calm and relaxed, or those that might feel just a little bit tender from too many Zoom meetings and too much time on computers, right?
Yes, you're right. There are tender spots in my palm.
So
I
this
didn't know
act
I
of
had them.
self-care and self-touch, sometimes you find something, you're like, I didn't know that that was sore.
Yeah.
You have this opportunity to care for yourself. Even notice, what does it feel like to just pull through those fingers and just notice as you wind that hand back and forth what it feels like to get these stretches into the fingers, to open up the knuckles, and to softly just experience this idea of soothing the self, nurturing, nourishing, and taking care of. Notice how different. I don't know about you, but I wash my hands 100 times.
I do too.
Right? So just the sensation of how the skin feels after we have just that small, quick treatment that we can do for ourselves, and just maybe notice the difference in the sensations of how your hands feel.
Oh, they feel wonderful. It just feels more lubricated and it just feels so much, it's very relaxing, extremely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
extremely relaxing, and it builds such a sense of body awareness
yeah,
when we're self-treating ourselves with these self-care techniques. And there's the techniques. Oftentimes people will say, well, how exactly do I do a hand massage? Can you tell me the technique? And techniques
right.
are extremely important, but the
Yeah,
act of touching and
yeah.
being in connection is so much more healing than any technique I've ever been taught.
Mm. That's good to know, because I too used to wonder about that. Like, is there a specific technique to the massage? You have to go like clockwise or anti-clockwise, or you start here and you start there, but I guess it doesn't matter, right?
The technique doesn't matter. What's really important is to remember that massage isn't supposed to hurt, right? We're going to find some places that we want to work with, find some places where our muscles might be tight, our tissues might be tight, but really the goal is to get them to relax. So long and slow and engaged movements, really building that body awareness. Oftentimes when people say, well, I was massaging my spouse or my friend, and they're doing this a lot, and they're like, I was there 5 minutes and all of a sudden my hands were killing me. But
Yeah,
I noticed when we went through this self-care technique with my hand, I never did this at all. It was
yeah,
just gliding through and making it nice and soft,
yeah,
creating this deep connection and
yeah.
finding that release. Your body will tell you if you're doing it right.
The first time I came to you, after my accident, I needed massage because my body was, my knees, my back was completely misaligned after that serious accident I was in. But I remember I was scared to death to come, because when I've had massages previously, it used to hurt very much, and I was so scared that massage would make it worse, especially after an accident from which I was already in pain. And you were just wonderful. And that's the one thing I learned from you, Theresa, that you just said, that massage shouldn't hurt. And if it does, it means that something's not right there. And that was so comforting to me. So thank you for that. And thank you for bringing that up again today. I think everyone needs to know that it shouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Pain is not part of it, right?
Yeah, obviously, if you've had an accident, you may have soreness in your body, but our job is to help you to heal from that,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And find things that are accessible and healing for our clients to be able to rehabilitate with the least amount of post accident stress on your body. We want to give it the comfort and the nurturing and the healing powers of touch. And those go way beyond technique.
Yes, and you definitely did that for me. So I can testify to how gentle your hands were, and yet you did go deep, but without that additional pain. It just released everything. So it was just a wonderful experience with that. So. Um, So why is touch so important, say, for, or is it important for child development? You know, we tend to massage our babies. I know in India we used to massage our babies, and, you know, for every single day we would massage little babies. And I often wondered, like, how is that helpful for child development? Maybe you can speak to that.
Yeah, it's really crucial for parents to massage their babies, right? For touch to be a part of nurturing, because it's through nurturing and nourishment that children learn how to form social bonds, both at the time of being a baby and also later in life. And this was really highlighted in many different stories and research studies that happened. When I was in massage school, we had to do a report. Obviously, I was in school. And what I picked was infant massage, because I have a huge family and there's babies everywhere. And the best thing at a family party is to hold the newest baby and give a big hug. So, working with infant massage was something that very much interested me. But I wound up with research studies that were talking about failure to thrive. And the study happened after World War II, when babies unfortunately wound up in without parents, and they were in orphanages. And the nurses and the caretakers were doing everything they could. They were so overpopulated. But the babies were clean and they were fed, and they were dressed and they were taken care of in the best way they could. But the caretakers had so many children to care for, they didn't have the time to pick them up, to hold them, to nourish them, to nurture them. And they were finding that the babies were having failure to thrive. So from that came a lot of research and finding out that even in the NICU units, there's this great program. It's called the Kangaroo Program.
Yes.
You know the Kangaroo Program?
Yeah.
It was taking our seniors and babies in NICU units and putting them together so that they could go in and rock and nurture them. And the babies grew faster. They had better immune systems. They gained weight. They had better social skills. So it was a real time of research and exploring just how much healing touch does for the human body. And so it's critical. And at this time, you said in India, you massaged your children all the time. It's kind of natural for moms. Like, if a baby comes in and says, "Oh, I'm crying," we pick them up. We kind of rock them the same way we rocked ourselves. Right? But, in family units right now, where we have a bit of social distancing, healing touch is a great way to foster those bonds, to still feel connected, to manage stress and boost our immune systems within those social units at home, where we might not see as many people in our lives as we have in the past, now that we're distanced for some time.
Right.
People that we live with, we can learn to nurture and nourish in maybe different ways.
I think that's really, really awesome. So why is it important to include oneself and one's family in your wellness practices? Why is why is that important?
So as far as self-care goes, it's a really, if you're practicing self-care, we're going to talk about self-care through self-massage, just oiling the skin, after your shower, and making it an intentional practice for yourself. So as you're applying maybe a lubricant, lots of us do that to our legs, right? After we get out of the shower, we're taking care of our skin. But the skin is a really critical and the largest system in the body. Also, as we do those practices, we begin to elevate our level of understanding of ourself. It is so, as a massage therapist, I always knew when I would work on somebody, I would get to a specific area and they'd say, "I didn't even know that hurt until you touched it." I didn't even know there was a soreness there. But if you incorporate these practices of self-care and self-massage, you begin to find those places in your body that are sore, that need some extra love and care and attention. And you begin to learn how to release some of those stress patterns for yourself. And going back to your earlier statement, the connection and the bond between parents and children through taking the time to massage each other, through couples, siblings who live together, sisters and best friends, whatever it is, it really is a great way for us to stay connected and to keep incorporating this healing modality of touch. And I said earlier, I would give up all of my techniques if I was sitting there with a client and I said, I'm not really sure exactly what to do. I would default to touch is super healing, and let's let the techniques come later.
So can you maybe demonstrate another way, or maybe suggest like a routine that we can follow for ourselves during the, like once we wake up or something? What would you suggest with different parts?
So I'm going to start with the place that everybody has been talking about lately. It's wash your hands, don't touch your face, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're hearing. So in the privacy of your own home after your shower and with your clean hands, touching your face is a really great way to get rid of tension, right? So you can just take your hands, and some people suffer from headaches or they hold tension at the sides of the eyes. So we want to work with soft fingers rather than kind of claws, right? We want our fingers to be soft and just let them be placed next to the eyes and maybe create these little circles into those muscles that move your jaw up and down. So they're often tight from stress habits of clenching or grinding. We can bring that up. Do you ever go to get your hair done and you have like the best scalp massage while you're there?
Yes.
So letting those fingers just move those tissues around on the top of your head. You might find that your thumbs can sit here at the base of the skull. We're sitting in front of our computers for a long time. And if you find this spot right where the neck and the head come together, you might find that from sitting over at your computers, you're going to find some really tender spots there, right?
Is it on the side you're talking about? Can you show that again?
Sure. So right in the back of your head, here's your neck. And right there, you can feel the edge of your skull, right? Where it's really on the bone of the skull. And you feel that tension of those muscles there. And exactly what you did intuitively there, you began to move your head up and down so that the fingers glide through all of those tissues, right?
That's so good.
And we really start to relax some of these muscles that are habitually holding up our head through all these Zoom meetings. And maybe even, I know that you do some tapping.
Yes.
Teach tapping a little bit, right? So in massage, we would call this depotement. And maybe if your sinuses are a little bit clogged these days because it is spring out there and all the trees are coming to life and bringing with them their pollen, this nice soft fingered depotement along the cheekbones and throughout the sinuses, maybe even onto the forehead, and just releasing any tension that we might have. And there are so many tapping techniques out there. Right. And I won't go into that because that's not my area of expertise. Depotement is to just let all of that tension out of your face.
Oh, that feels really good.
Increases flow to the skin, increases flow into all of these tissues. So hands, face, and scalp are easy for anybody to, I'm going to put my glasses back on so I can see, are easy for anybody to use as part of a self-care routine.
Yeah. Wow, that's really good. Is there something that we can do for our necks as well? Because, we're sitting on the computer the whole time, and I know my neck tends to get really tight, and I don't even know it, but suddenly if I just do a head roll, oh my gosh, it feels like a tight band there.
Yeah. So I'm going to move my necklace off to the side. Again, we always want our fingers and our working tool to be soft. So you can just place that right on the front of this pectoralis muscle. And notice what I do. I glide nice and slow out and then bring it right back. Whew. And we start to really, so a lot of that tension of sitting forward on your computer starts here. And so if we take this time to just glide lightly through these tissues, your body will tell you when you're at the right depth. You'll start to be thinking, oh yeah, that's the spot, right? You know when you've hit something that's holding tension. Because the information that comes back from your receptors tell you that. You could take that same hand and take it over to where it will comfortably reach these, where people say, I hold the weight of the world on my shoulders, right? We need to put that weight down, right? So notice that when I work, I know that when people massage, they do this, as we talk about, their hands tend to get a bit tired. But if we glide through and then just pull that back, it's much less fatiguing on your hands. Or if you are sharing touch with somebody that's a family member that you live with and you wanted to give them a massage, this is another way to be able to do that without your hands fatiguing through it. You can even come here into the side of the neck, and as you massage from the shoulder up the neck, just take your hand, glide it up, and as you do, tilt your head away. So you just glide and bring it back. And so we move our head as a way to open up those muscles so that the hand can easily access them.
That is really good. Stretches this whole thing up.
Opens up all of these places where we habitually hold our tension. You always want to make sure that you take time to work on both sides, right? So maybe you would switch hands and begin to glide through. I always am surprised when I do this self-care to find the differences from left to right, right? At one side, you're like, oh, this feels so good. And the other, you're like, I didn't know that was sore.
Yeah. Right? Why is that?
It has to do with the way we position our bodies in front of the computer, what's our dominant hand, right? Different types of activities that we might have if we play golf or play the piano or something else that's upper body intensive. We've taken up kayaking lately, so I've noticed that one arm is stronger than the other, and the one that's not quite as strong, I have more tenderness. So we begin to notice how when I'm working, I'm not really trying to hurt myself, but I'm building this high level of awareness about what's each different side feels like. And the areas in which I hold my tension and how I can release it. You could easily just find this spot, this trapezius muscle, where so many people say they have pain. Maybe you feel with your working hand that muscle might be dense. Maybe it feels a little bit harder. And if it does, you could just hold it. You don't even have to move the hand around. You can just let the warmth of your hand begin to release that muscle. And you can help the body to understand. A nice deep breath. And as you exhale, just let those shoulders relax away from the ears. Release. Become aware with more deep inhalations, inhaling deeply. And slowly exhaling. Notice what's going on under the resting hand. Whether the tissues that you're connected to, that trapezius muscle, is changing its tone.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's gotten a little bit softer.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually feel a bit of a release, a letting go, a lightening of the load.
Yeah, definitely.
And then just maybe notice, what does it feel like in those neck and shoulders now after, what do we have, 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes of self-care makes a world of difference.
Yeah. Oh, that was great. And I definitely noticed a difference between my right side. This was more sore than my left side. And I didn't know that, and this really helped to release that little bit of soreness or tension that I felt right there.
Yeah. So in
Wow.
the absence of me being able to help you, I can teach you to help yourself. Of
Yeah.
course, we would all love to be back on somebody's massage table. I would love to be back working with my clients and helping them through this time where we need to manage our stress and manage how that manifests within our body. But in the absence of being able to do that, teaching people to care for themselves is the next best gift I have to offer.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. Now, if, since we are sitting all day long, is there anything you suggest for just like maybe wherever we can reach, like, the lower back part of it? Because just, I know for myself to just sitting all day long, I tend to get stiff. Either my upper back stiffens up or my lower back. So is there something you can suggest for self-touch?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes the low back is hard to reach in self-care.
Yeah.
But the legs are so implicated in that
Yeah.
low back tenderness, and they're much more accessible. But since we're
Yeah.
seated, I'm just going to basically pretend my arm is a leg.
Okay. That's great. Okay.
We can see that when we're seated
Yeah.
down. So you just take your hand and then just let it glide through those tissues, right? So on the leg, it's going to be the same thing. Imagine this is your lower leg and your foot. Right? So it's your lower leg and your foot instead of your arm. You can just glide through the muscles.
Oh, that feels
So
so good.
in fascial work, we would call these shearing strokes. So if you think of your body as a gliding system, everything wants to work independently. All of the muscles work in conjunction with other parts of the body, with other muscles, but they want to be able to not be stuck together. Water is really important to keep us hydrated and for those tissues to have enough fluid to not get stuck together. But the other thing we can do is just glide through those tissues and notice what happens if while you're doing that, you just turn your hand a little bit. So as you glide through, I like to call this when I teach it in yoga, the Queen's Wave. So as we're gliding through those tissues, we have this little bit of a Queen's Wave going on, right? But notice what it feels like and if you find some tender areas.
Yeah.
Right? You can also, as you're coming through your arm, is
Yeah.
close those fingers. So let that hand rest down close to the elbow and close all your fingers into a
Oh,
soft fist. And then as your working hand starts coming towards your fist, notice what happens if you open your fingers. Feel what
wow.
you feel under your working arm. And then take that hand and tilt it backward. And you can feel how all those tissues are changing underneath your
Yeah.
fingers. You can do the opposite, while we're here. And as I bring this massage shearing stroke down, I can close my hand into a soft fist and bring it down again. So we begin to release the tissues by asking them to do a movement while we're doing a massage stroke. It's called active engagement. But now notice the difference between the hand that was working in that arm and the arm that you just worked on.
Yeah. Definite difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to do it on this side too, right?
Absolutely. We don't want to miss anything, right?
So good. Especially when you had us do this, I could feel the little bit of tension, the muscle, but as I pulled up, it was releasing even from the palms.
Yes.
So that was really good.
Yeah, with everything connected. So we start with just warming up those tissues, right? Really beginning to notice, how do they feel? Is anything tender? Does this arm feel the same as the other one? We're not, although we're bilateral, we don't always feel the same one side to the other. So you get to notice that. And after you've done that a couple of times, just bring in that Queen's wave. We just give a little bit of movement. So the muscles that you're working on are really opening and showing you their fibers. As you move them around, your working hand feels different parts of those muscles, different fibers. And then, of course, we can close that hand into a soft fist and bring that fist toward your face. And as you come through and glide through that stroke from the arm to, and it doesn't really matter what direction you go in, but then we're going to straighten that wrist and notice what we feel. Open up those fingers. Ooh, that one I feel. And tilt that hand back.
Wow.
We can do the opposite by starting the opposite direction, closing those hands, bringing it close to our body, and gliding down. So we actively engage the muscles during our self-care. Now our legs are going to be the same, except we're going to go down, right? The other thing, I'm going to hop up here. You can use your forearm there. While you're working, you could just take that forearm and glide it on that leg, even right through my pants. I can make this work, right? I just
almost like a roller, right? You're sort of rolling it.
Yeah, you've been in my rolling class, right? When we're in the a soft roller, and rollers are a really great self-care tool. Especially, I like softer rollers, and the reason is they have really hard ones. They have rollers with knobs on them. I'm not saying any of them don't work, but when the roller is a little bit softer and we have less impact on our body, we're more willing to use it. If it hurts when we use it, we're probably not going to use it all that much. But I do teach rolling classes or with my clients, and you've been in a couple, just to help them to be able to use a tool for that self-care. I have a lot of little tools that I like to use. Yeah.
So would you recommend doing like these kinds of things that you just showed us every day? Like, do you recommend doing that in the morning or at night before bedtime or when you wake up? Or when is the best way so that we get the most use out of it? Or do you recommend doing it maybe more than once a day? What do you suggest?
I think that the idea of doing this every day and dedicating some time to self, we're all so busy running around, and we tend to put other people's needs ahead of ours. And, and maybe if we wake up late or we have something going on, we'll get rid of our meditation or something that we know that we really need in order to do something for somebody else. So if you can schedule that time, either time, if you wanted to do this at night before bed, it's a really great way to calm the nervous system, relax the body, soothe the mind, and let go of your day by having a self-care practice that you put right before bed. But sometimes if in the morning you're a sluggish waker-upper like me, it might be really nice to do it in the morning with more of a vigorous stroke, maybe not quite as slow as we were practicing here, but maybe my massage in my hands might be a little bit more vigorous. I might rub them together, really start to wake up my body, shake them a little bit to get energy flowing through them. So I think it really depends on what effect you want to get out of the different practices that you have. And then you fit them into that time of day where they will serve the most good. I mean, there's nothing, I think another really great time would be in the middle of your day. Lots of people are working from home. We're in front of the computer all day long. So it's a good idea to get up and have some me time and open up and counterbalance the postures of habitual sitting and getting our work done.
Yeah. So I think this would really help at night. A lot of people are having trouble sleeping, just with all the anxiety and the stress of COVID-19 and the worries that people are having. So that might be a good idea too, to do it before bedtime, I would think, right? Would that help to get a good night's sleep by massaging?
Yeah, going back to your earlier question about infants, one of the things they found when they had that touch and nurturing was improved sleep patterns. And many people might come to me as a massage therapist, an accident like you, or they have some sort of a discomfort or pain in their body, but they'll come back saying, wow, I'm sleeping better, or I'm digesting better. So the layers of benefit of touch go beyond the I have a sore back.
Yeah. No, that's really good. So we have a comment here. She says, and this is from Nancy. Nancy says, not having a roller, I have, why is it moving up? I have used a tennis ball against the wall for my shoulders gently. So a tennis ball would also help for this massage, I suppose, right?
Absolutely. And I learned something about tennis balls, which is kind of odd, and that is that they have 3 different densities. They have tennis balls that they teach 5-year-olds with. They have tennis ball different amount of give in them for teenagers, and then a professional one. So you have the option based on how they feel on your body to have something that's more firm or something that is has a little bit more give, depending on how you feel. It's great to use that up against the wall. They're also a really nice and very inexpensive tool for doing foot massage for yourself. Rolling out the bottom of the foot, putting that tennis ball on the ground, and just rolling it through all of those muscles and releasing the tension in the feet.
Yeah. So you're saying the softer balls are better than the hard tennis balls? Could either work?
They can either work. It really depends on the person. Some people, if somebody has a lot of tenderness and discomfort, they might want something that is not quite so hard. Or somebody who's been using, or you may also graduate between densities. Maybe when you start, or maybe right after you had your accident, we might say, let's try something soft to begin with.
Yeah.
And then as the healing process moves forward, we'll change the tool that we're using.
The other thing I have used, and maybe you can speak to it, is also I've used water bottles that they're frozen water bottles, because the cold, it forms like a block of ice almost, and it really soothes my feet. So I roll my feet when I have, if my feet are hurting for whatever reasons, then. So is that something that you would recommend, just with the ice like that?
Absolutely, because it does feel soothing, right?
Yeah.
It's really nice. We're summer coming, so cooling down your feet has other added benefits, but it is a really nice, inexpensive, something we all have at home tool that we can use. The coolness kind of breaks down some of that inflammation and keeps things moving. And I've read that it's something that's often offered for people for self-care for things like plantar fasciitis.
Yes.
PTs or their doctors might recommend using something like a frozen water bottle as a rolling tool to both release, but also to work on the inflammation.
Yeah. Christy says that helps so much with plantar fasciitis, just exactly what you said. And I have used it when I've had it. I've only had it off and on. Fortunately, right now I don't. It's the most painful thing to have. Oh my goodness. But when I did have an episode of it, I was told to do that. And just the massaging of the foot was extremely helpful. And the cold really helped as well. So thank you. Yeah. So I'm just going to ask the viewers if there's any other questions people have. Theresa, I think will be happy to answer your questions. So please write them in. So if people have any questions, we can go there. So we have another about 10 minutes or so left, Theresa. So did you want to do your meditation, or now, or how? I don't know how long it was going to be. You were going to
Sure.
end with.
We could definitely do that. If you don't have any questions, we can move on to that.
Yeah. So let's just take a look. I haven't seen any other questions yet, but I do. Cindy had said earlier that her niece needed the kangarooing. I think was she doing it, Cindy, or she needed it, she said. So I think when her niece was probably premature and she needed the kangarooing. So that was an interesting point that Cindy had made here. I'm just looking to see if there's anybody else who's asking about anything.
The really great benefit that they found in the kangaroo program was that it benefited both two populations that were a bit touch deprived. The seniors who had lost their partners, and they were the seniors who were volunteering to come into the NICU units, and the babies. And the seniors reported that not only did they get all of the benefits of touch from nurturing the babies, but then afterwards their social life started to change. All of the volunteers would meet for coffee, and it just built this huge sense of community throughout the program. So touch is just so healing. It's how we nurture our feelings of trust and connectedness. And it also has, it releases the feel-good hormones, right? It releases oxytocin and serotonin. So that ability to self-soothe and to reduce stress and anxiety through incorporating these practices is not only, gosh, my hands really feel well, but this idea that we can help to manage our own stress and change the flow of chemicals that are coming through the body.
And the endorphins as well, right? To help with pain, to reduce the pain as well, but with the endorphins. So Christy writes, when massaging the shoulder, should the arm be down next to your body or laying on a table?
That's a great question, Christy. It can be down at the side because the power of the arm, the weight of the arm is going to give you a little bit of a release. But some people have a shoulder injury, and that would feel really uncomfortable for them to let it hang at their side. So then they could give it some support by placing it on top of a prop or some other pillow. So it really is very individualized. Sometimes you just have to play around with different options until you find the one that's perfect for you.
Yeah. Well, this has just been wonderful. I don't see any other questions yet. I think you did a great job and answered every question that I think people already had. I know you answered my questions about why touch is important, Theresa. So if you would like to do the guided meditation, I think that would be good. We have about 7-8 minutes left.
Okay.
So you can go a little bit over too. I mean, I'm not going to we don't need to cut off exactly at 9, but close enough.
Okay. So what we'll do is maybe you can just find a comfortable seat. So we've been sitting in front of our computers for a little bit. Sometimes it's more accessible to go into inner reflection. If you wear glasses, I always take mine off to the side when I do a meditation. If you feel comfortable, you can allow the eyes to close. If you prefer to leave them open, just adopt a downward gaze. And begin to notice all the parts of your body that are connected to the hard surface beneath you. All the places you feel connected and supported. Allow these sensations quiet the mind, and to bring on a sense of ease, knowing that you're fully supported, united in this community that's been created this evening. And then we'll begin to allow ourselves to watch our breath without judgment, without feeling a need to change or alter it, but with a sense of curiosity and a willingness to build a relationship with this vital force, this energy that enters the body. And as you begin to observe the inhale, notice all the parts of the body that begin to open and expand as the breath flows in. And the sensation of release, letting go as the breath flows out. And as the breath flows in, notice the movement of the rib cage. Feel its expansion. And begin to build an awareness of how many places you can feel that opening as the breath flows in. Notice how the back body feels against the chair that you're sitting in. Are you aware of its movements? Become aware of the side body, the space where the arms and the torso meet. And with the next 3 inhales, become aware of that expansion, the space between the sides of the torso and the sides of the arms. Feel the opening, feel the movement. Allow your awareness to settle in the front of the body, experiencing the breath's expansion in the heart space as the breath flows in and the breath flows out. And with the next inhale, allow all of those spaces, the entire circle of the torso, expand with the inhalation. And release and let go as the breath flows out. Perhaps taking this moment to bring the hands in front of the heart space, allowing the palms to gently touch, the head to gently bow. Maybe set an intention. We could ask ourselves, what is my heart's truest desire? What's important to me? And from the answer of that question, create an intention. Be an intention to incorporate a healing practice. And with that intention set, releasing the hands from the heart, noticing one final breath. The breath flows in. And the breath flows out. And as you're ready, come on back. Come back and open your eyes. Come back to this space.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
That was just beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm ready to just zone out. So thank you so much, Theresa. I have a couple of announcements we will make. And one is, I just want to give a huge thank you to all the frontline workers, the essential workers, the doctors, the nurses, the lab people, the cleaners, the law enforcement, mail carriers, EMTs, grocery store workers, trash collectors, and on and on. I mean, I've mentioned as many as I could think, but there's many, many more people who put their lives on the line every single day so that the rest of us can stay safe and stay home. So a huge thank you to all of you. Some of you may be on the call. Some of you may have relatives or friends who are doing this kind of noble work. And I appreciate you all very, very much. And a huge thank you, a lot of gratitude to everybody. Another thing is our condolences go out to all those people who have lost loved ones. A lot of people have died in this country and around the world. So again, my heartfelt sympathies and heartfelt condolences to everybody, to all the families of people who have lost loved ones. The other thing I would like to say is, please, Theresa has very kindly given us handouts. So those will be posted in the files section in Seeking Happiness. This is our a free Facebook group. So please go there and check her out. And she's given you the information of how you can get in touch with her, etc. So if you wish, you can go look for her handout in that space. So please join Seeking Happiness, and I hope to see you there. And thank you so much, Theresa, and thank you to all our wonderful viewers who have gotten on, and they've been thanking you as well, Theresa. I think everyone thought your session was awesome.
Thank you for having me. I had such a great time. Thank you all for joining us and for being here. Don't forget, self-care. It's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And self-care is not selfishness. So please take care of yourselves because a lot of the times we are, like you said, Theresa, we're so quick to do for other people, but we don't use that self-care and take the time for ourselves. So and it's not selfishness at all. So we need to engage in self-care. So having said that, thank you so much again, Theresa, and thank you all for taking time out. Of your and being on the call with us today. And I hope to see you next Wednesday, as usual, at 8 p.m. So take care, everybody. Stay safe, stay well, stay healthy. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Nice to see you. I'll see you again soon.
Yeah, you could stay on.